Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Joel D. In this video, we're going to talk about adding AWeber forms to your WordPress blog. So now that we have signed up for AWeber, we created an account, we've set up a subscription list, we have added a form, we've created a campaign. Now we actually need to, have something public facing that we can actually capture those emails. So to do that, we need to add our AWeber form to our WordPress blog. So I'm going to show you two different ways to do that. The first way is embedding your form using HTML code, and AWeber provides you with that. So we'll take that code, bring it over to WordPress, put that on your site, and then test it to make sure you're capturing people's emails. And then when we go live, we'll be able to successfully build our list. And the second way is just another option of utilizing the AWeber plugin and using that plugin to add your form to the site. So it's two different methods to get the form on your WordPress blog, but both are doing the same thing, and they're capturing email addresses and contacts so we can start our generating our email campaigns to people. All right, so having said that, let's go and start with the first one. So first thing I'm going to do is go back to my sign up forms, because I'm going to show you the first way, which is just embedding the code. I'm going to go to my generic form, click on publish. I will install my form, go to the raw HTML version, click in there and copy. So Control C. Now I'm back in WordPress. I'm going to go down to appearance, customize, because if you remember, the first form that we placed on our site is actually in the right hand column of our blog posts. So what we're going to want to do is go out to that area and we can embed our form there. I'll show you. Would be the first option, and the second option would be using a plugin for AWeber, and then uniquely adding our form through that interface, where you'd be able to select the form that you've created. So if you created 5 different forms, you could select one of the 5, and eventually you're probably going to want to do that because you're going to have one form for the asset, you'll have an opt-in form for your newsletter, just a generic opt-in form. There's a lot of ways to do that. So we're just going to stick with that. I'm going to come over now to, here's where my original form was. So if I click on edit, what I can do is I'll keep this in for now, but we are not going to use this. What I would do here is add a widget, and I want to get HTML, so custom HTML. And then I would plug this in, and this is the code that I took from AWeber itself, and as you can see, there it is. So I'll click done, and then I can reorder it, put this where the get dog anxiety tips was. I'll copy that actually, and I will add it to this as a title. Click done. Now I have get dog anxiety tips. I'm going to remove this now. So remove. And now I have this. I could go in and update the color of this too, by the way, within AWeber, or I can keep it as is. It kind of matches like this as well, but if you want to bring out the call to action button, you can do that. You can also change the inner portion of the color here. You can make it white or gray, or however you want to set that up. You can do that all through the form design portion. But yeah, that's how we initially set this up. So after we're all said and done, I'll click on publish, and now we have a live form. So whenever someone comes out, fills this in, they will be added to your subscription list. Now I'll head back over to AWeber. In my subscribers area, manage subscribers, show all. I have no subscribers. I just want to test to make sure that this form works. So to do that, I'm going to hop back over to my website, and I'll just go to an open preview page of our blog, and I'm just gonna put in my name and then my email address for Dog Nerve. I'll click submit. Give it a second, and it's gonna send me to this page. So you're almost done. Activate your subscription. So we can turn this off. This is you're set automatically from AWeber to a double opt-in. So it's making your users, if they were to fill out a form, confirm their email address before they're added to your subscription list. And this is just a way to cut down on spam and other things that you're getting validated emails as opposed to just fake generic ones. So not a bad idea. I don't do this too often because I'll just I have trust in the audience that I'm bringing to my site. But again, you can, it's up to you whether or not you want to keep that. I'll show you how to remove it if you would like to. But now what I want to do is I'm going to have to go to my email. So I'll pull up my email address and you'll see that I have this new email. And that's response required. Please confirm your request for information. If I click on this, all I have to do is click confirm my subscription. And now it's going to say your subscription has been confirmed. Please check your email, and I can return to the website. Now I'll also click back to my webmail, and because this is my account, I can confirm that I get notified of this new subscription. So now you can see joel@dognerve.com was added to Dog Nerve generic list. So you can see I'm getting that confirmation. So you should get this email, and this is from AWeber notifications. But then what I can do is go out to my subscription list, refresh the page, and I should have a new subscriber. And there we are. So the form is working correctly. If I wanted to look at some information, I could do that. This will give you some options of where the person's from, etc. And this is all from IP address. So really simple process. We created that form in here, we added it to the site, and now whenever someone fills that form in, our email is added to the subscriber list. We do not have the campaigns active, but what would happen here is you would get your, and we'll test that a little later, but you would get added to this campaign if it was live. But as you can see, they're in draft mode, so we're not getting these messages yet. What I'm going to show you next while we're in here is how to get rid of the double opt-in. So to do that, I'm going to go to list options, list settings, and we're in the dog. We only have one list right now, so it's Dog Nerve generic list, which obviously if you have multiple lists, you're going to want to make sure you're in that correct list before you make these changes, unless all of them you want to undo. But what you do next is personalize your list. Scroll down. Oh, sorry. You're going to want to go to confirmation message. And here's where we have that title, response required. Please confirm your request for information. But if you scroll down here, you can see this send confirmation for AWeber sign-up forms. And you'll see that they strongly recommend leaving confirmed opt-ins on for deliverability reasons. And that's just saying if they're adding fake addresses, and by they, I keep referring to they, your audience members or visitors, then if they're not legitimate and you're sending your automated emails, you're going to get a lot of undeliverable mail messages, which isn't good. So there's pros and cons to keeping this on. The pro being you won't have to have them go back into their email, because you may lose some of those email addresses if they don't go and actually confirm their subscription. So I typically turn this off. It'll ask you if you want to, if you're sure. I say yes. And I'll try to really monitor my list closely and make sure that I'm getting legitimate emails. And if I'm not, then I may turn this back on. But most of the time, I haven't had any issues with that. So I usually keep it off. Okay, and that's it. And then click Save All Settings. Make sure you do that, or this will go back to normal. and they'll have to double opt in. So now we don't need a double opt-in. They won't get this message. If you were keeping it and you wanted to edit that, you could edit the message here. You could change the subject line to something else if you'd like. And that's where you would make it. List options, list settings, basic settings, personalize your list, and then confirmation message. Confirmation message is where you would make those updates. Okay. Next, I'm gonna head up and I'm actually gonna activate one of these campaigns. So next time that we add an email address, I'm automatically added to the campaign, and I can show you what that looks like. So if I go to messages, campaigns, we already have our message or our asset added to this campaign. So I'm just going to click activate campaign, and now you'll see that it's added and it has an open rate and a clicked rate. So this is now active, as you can see. So I should, anytime someone enters their email address, they should be added to my subscriber list, and they should also be added into the campaign and automatically receive this message. All right, so I'm going to now show you the second option on adding a form to your site, as opposed to just embedding the form within sign up forms here. I'll show you how you can use a plugin to do that. So all you have to do is, you still need to create your sign up form, but now instead of embedding it into your site, there's ways to utilize plugins to get to that form as opposed to embedding. And that just makes it a little easier. You don't have to keep coming out. If you wanted to change the form, for instance, if you created a new form, you could just take that from the drop down within the plugin, and I'll show you how to do that. Now let's go back over to WordPress, go to plugins, add new, and search for AWeber. Click enter. Let that load for a second. Now I have these options, and here's the AWeber option that I have. So I'll click install now. It has 2 stars. Not sure the reason for that. It seems to work fine for me. Let's see if we have any issues with it this time. Activate. And then I'm going to get a little AWeber option here. And then it will tell me that I need to authenticate my account. So all you need to do this is click get started here, and it's going to bring you to an authorization form, and you just want to put in your credentials. As you can see, I have many for this. Allow access, and it's going to give you this code. So I'm going to take this, copy the authentication code, come back in, paste in the authentication code here, and click finish. And now I should be authenticated. And I'll also get an email as well. So if I were to go to my email, they'll give me an email saying you've authenticated your account. So now we should be ready to go to start adding our forms anywhere we want on the site. To start doing that, we'll come down here and you're going to see commenting and new registrations. So we can set our defaults here. So at this point, we only have this one list, and as you can see, it pulls up dog nerve generic list. This is from AWeber. I'm just going to click that for both. We don't really have a newsletter yet, but we can keep that as is. But you can change your label, and again, this is just your default. You can make updates as we're adding. So let me click save. Now by default, everything's going to go to my dog nerve generic list. If you had 2 different forms, you could add one for subscribers when visitors leave a comment, or when you have an actual new subscriber, you could send them to a different list via a different form. We only have 1 form, so we're good there. Now it'll give you this option to go to your widgets page and drag AWeber into a widget area. So we can do that. I'll click on widgets page, And once I'm in the widgets page area, you can see I have these widget areas right here, which is our main sidebar. And as you can see on our main sidebar, we have that search, our custom HTML that we added for getting dog anxiety tips. And that was our embed code that we added manually, and then our recent posts. And then we have these other areas, widget areas for the header, footer bars, etc. So all I need to do here is take AWeber, which you can see in the available widgets. So again, these are the widgets themselves. These are the widget areas that you can add your widgets. I'm going to take this and just drag it over, and I'll put it above the custom HTML. Now what you can see is select a list, and all we have is that one, and that's where we would actually update. If we wanted, we could change this list to whatever list that we have. Again, we only have one. Select two, select a sign up form, and we also only have one form. So here's the options. Like I said, if you have multiple of each, you can select the list you want them to be added to, and you can select the form to add them to that list. So generic list, generic opt-in form, click save. And we can go back out to our customize page, refresh, and you should see this here. I'll let that load for a sec. Go back to our blog page, because remember, we only added that right hand bar to our blog post. And here you have it. It's the same form. And what we can do from here, because the AWeber widget won't have a title within the form itself here, but what you can do is add a widget and just search for text, pull in text, and it'll go to the bottom, add that, get dog anxiety tips, click done, scroll it on up, and you'll have it above there. And you can tweak this later, but now I can get rid of this dog anxiety tips, the embed code, so I'll remove that. And now we have a similar setup. I'll click publish. Now what I want to do is, because we set this up, I want to test to make sure that this works, and then I want to test to make sure that the email campaign is set. Now remember, we added the asset that we created to this. You don't necessarily need to do that for this. This is more of a generic sign up form, but I wanted to combine the two just to show you how to add an asset and also how to set a form up. But what you would really do is, if this were your asset giveaway, you could add an image here, maybe put in the book and say, you know, get your 11 tips for dog anxiety, and then you'd have this form, as opposed to just get dog anxiety tips. So you could specify this, you could keep it as is, like I said, and keep that asset in there and just give that as your first giveaway of value. I mean, that's more than okay too. But just like I said, if you have a newsletter, for instance, form, and you just want them to sign up for your newsletter and maybe get them in that that email sequence of your newsletters, and you set up, you know, 52 newsletters out the in the beginning, you could do that and just let it run for a year straight. Every week you send out a newsletter that's already been created. So there's a few different ways. I'm just showing you basically how the form works, how the subscriber list works, and then you can create your own email sequences accordingly. All right, so what I'm going to do now is actually test this and then see if the campaign is triggering correctly. So I want to make sure, one, when I fill this form out, I'm added to the subscription list correctly. Then I want to make sure that I am getting the emails that I should get, and I should get that asset right away, because that's how we set up the campaign itself. So let me go over to our site and fill out the form. Okay, so here we are, we're on our site. I'm gonna again I need to use a different email address, or it will tell me that this is already duplicate. So I'm just gonna put in one of my fake Gmail accounts. So here we go. I'll just add this email address, click submit. Thank you for subscribing. First thing you notice, I didn't have to double opt in. I'm now subscribed, and I can click return to the last page. Another thing to notice, this is my default. You remember we never specified whether or not we wanted to send our visitor to a different landing page. You could create a thank you page with Elementor and send them there instead and just put that URL in. We just decided to keep the generic AWeber one, which is fine for now. But if you wanted to, you could. There are a lot of options, so it doesn't have to go to this simple thank you page. It could go to a more robust thank you page that has another action that they should take once they subscribe or what have you. So it doesn't need to be this simple, but we're just keeping it as simple as possible, and then it would just bring me back to the same page. So now I want to make sure that we are getting entered correctly. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to round cube and see that. I'm going to refresh. So I'll F5, and I should have a couple things here. So actually, sorry, I am in the wrong email address. So let me go to here. So I have this thank you for signing up. And I also, in my other account, I was notified, so I could have gone to this, sorry. So you can see the email that has been updated or added to my subscription list. I can go now to my other email address, and I can see that I'm entered into that campaign successfully. So here is the thank you so much for signing up for free tips to help your dog. As promised, here's your ebook, 11 tips to help your dog's anxiety. And when they click on this, they'll go to that specific asset that we created earlier in a previous video. So that works. I got the right emails. I got notified. The last thing I want to do is and obviously I should be entered into the subscriber list, because if not, I wouldn't have got this email. So I'll just click here, and I should have 2 emails in here now. And there we go. So we have 2 emails, 2 people subscribed today. It tells you the time. And now when I click on this email, I can see the tags that have been added. So the engaged one is added, which means I opened the email, and now I'm welcomed, because what it did was, and that happened automatically. So as I subscribe, I use the form to subscribe, I'm added to the subscriber list, and as soon as I'm added to the subscriber list, this campaign that we created is now active. I'm applied with this tag. You don't see it because it happens automatically, and it removes you automatically. So what happened was I signed up, got entered into this campaign. Because of that, I got this email, and then because I got the email, I was removed from the welcome campaign, and I applied the tag welcomed, meaning I received it. And that's exactly how it works. And then what I could do, like I said, is I create a new email sequence within welcomed, and then they would just get brought into this this email list. Okay, and that's really how it works. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's quite simple. I mean, it's complicated at first to set up a little bit, and not really complicated, just if you don't know what you're doing. But to give you a recap of what we just did, we started off with basically nothing. We created within our email marketing tool an active list. So we created a list, dog nerve generic list, and that's just capturing our subscribers. Then we needed a way to capture the subscribers, so we created a form. The form was added to our site. When a visitor fills that form out, they're added to our subscriber list. We also created a campaign, so when that subscriber enters their email and signs up, they not only are added to our list, but our campaign is triggered, and then they get our email sequence. And then we could push them along into other email sequences as we go along. And that's the high level, which is really all we need at this moment when we're starting out, is just the basics. We want to build our email lists, we want to send them some value, create these campaigns, and focus most of our time on just building our list. So hopefully this was helpful. Reach out if you have any questions, message me, leave a comment, post a comment to our Facebook group, and engage and just see what other people are doing. Provide more information to others on what you're doing if you're familiar with this process. And again, we could go so much further into this, but for beginners, this is all you really need to do to start building your list. So all right, thanks for your time, and we will see you in the next video.